is. Let's make sure we got everything cooking here. Nobody's on mute. Should be fucking up. And there we go. Here we go. A day early. Fly Degenerates show. Got a lot of stuff to get into. We got some cool some cool things happening in the Giants camp. Some good things for Daniel Jones. We got some. I feel guilty. I feel bad because last week we were sitting here and I was like, it's been a quiet time for the Jets. They're nice, no drama, no problems. They're not really, in the news too much. And then of course, we spoke too soon, and the Hassan Reddick situation. It's my fault, of course, obviously.
That's what you planned. That's what you wanted to happen. So
that is what I wanted to happen. I prayed. I mean, like, I had other things to pray about, people dying and stuff. But like, most important, number one thing was let me have some Hassan Reddick news. Thank God.
You're praying for a third downfall.
Thank God. But before we start, we were having a conversation before we went live. We were talking about how excited Word Life is for the Aaron Hernandez. What is it? Is it a mockumentary? Is it a docu-series? I don't even know what these things are called.
I think it's just a one-time Hernandez story, American sports story. Aaron Hernandez, FX. That's all I can say. Official Twitter, FX, American Sports Story. I think it's just the one movie though. It says streams on Hulu, and FX. So I don't know.
So is it more so like in the vein of the OJ remake? Cuba Gooding Jr.?
That's what I'm assuming because FX has done these American. They did the OJ. They did the They did this guy, the Johnny Versace. They did another one. I can't remember what it was. But I feel like I remember hearing that they were working on an Aaron Hernandez one. So I'm assuming that this is it. I could be wrong. But I think that they were working on a docu, whatever these things are nowadays. Series, docu-series, mocu-series. I don't know.
Yeah, docu-series. It probably is a series, though.
You are excited for this.
No, I don't know if I would say excited. I guess I'll tap in if I can. I mean, but it's just crazy.
You sounded way more excited about that.
Saying why? That's not how you were talking before we went live. All of a sudden now,
I was sharing the shit. I thought you co-produced it.
I was saying it was gonna. I don't know how excited I should be because it got better. I don't know any actor on it. I don't really know how these things are if they're any good. You know what I'm saying? But I thought it would be a dope topic, and I thought the trailer looks solid. You know what I'm saying?
So there's a trailer. I haven't seen the trailer.
Yeah, I sent it to you. It's streaming on Hulu the 17th. It's an FX vehicle, but
September 17th, man.
Yeah, 9/17. Yep, you're right. Good catch.
Oh, wow.
But
so we got a ways to go.
Yeah,
and you know what? That's actually kind of stupid. Why would they wait until football season starts? They should do that shit before. Once football season starts, like if that shit was airing now, that shit would give us a weekly thing to fucking talk about leading up to football season.
Yeah. It should have been airing Hernandez.
Connor knew what he was doing when he came out with the release date for his book.
Yeah, man. He has like a good couple weeks to let that shit.
So you were excited, but you're not excited for the Aaron Hernandez doc. Flex has Aaron Hernandez in the Hall of Fame.
No, I do not.
Yes, you do. What do you mean? No, you do.
I said trajectory.
Okay, trajectory. No, obviously he's not making the Hall of Fame, but
yeah, I mean.
You had him a Hall of Fame caliber career trajectory.
Yeah, he was getting better.
He was getting better.
I mean,
it's not like he had any other tight ends on his team to worry about.
With the Super Bowl wins and all that, you never know. But yeah,
he didn't win a Super Bowl thanks to the Giants.
Right. I'm saying that if he would have stayed in the Patriots and that whole shit wouldn't have went down, he would have won a few.
You think so?
No?
If my aunt had a beard, she'd be my uncle.
I don't know. You tell me. I don't know.
I mean, the Patriots won after that, right?
After he died or after he got locked up or whatever.
Yeah, like after that, after the Giants beat him, he went. They won. Didn't he win a chip? I thought he won a chip.
I don't think so.
I thought he won one, but
I think he was there for the gap because there was
the Eagles.
What was it? Eagles? No way. He definitely wasn't there for the Eagles. I think he was dead by the time they played the Eagles. Maybe the first time, but he wasn't on the team yet. The first time they played the Eagles.
Yeah, he was definitely not on the team at the first time.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm saying I thought you meant you said the gap. I thought you meant like the Giants and Eagles gap. But that was that a year?
No, I meant like the gap when the Patriots weren't winning. The gap between them winning Super Bowls. Because I guess it was, I don't know, man. I lose track because they won.
Yeah, it's crazy because it was like two separate dynasties,
right?
Yeah, because so they won. Because it's funny. You know why I don't think he won the Super Bowl? Because I always associate him with the Wes Welker years, and Wes Welker never won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I feel like he was a part of those years where those gaps of years where they went, but they were taking L's. Because like even now, I still when I think. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but when I think of Wes Welker and his time with the Patriots, I just assume he got a ring at some point while he was there.
I thought he had multiple.
Yeah, zero.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, I knew that he didn't win any, but what I'm saying is, like, when you think about it, it's crazy because you think about how long he was on the team for, and how successful they were.
Well, the crazy thing is, I don't think he got one with the Patriots or when he was with Peyton with the Broncos. I don't think he got one either time. I think he was like the bad luck charm.
Yeah, he definitely. I don't think he won it with.
Now, Aaron Hernandez only played 3 years.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah, I mean, how many years you thought he played?
I thought he was in 5.
I thought, to be honest with you, I'm surprised he played 3 years. I thought he only played 2.
No, because the thing is, I just remember the thing about his contract. So to me, like, I thought that because he had just signed it or whatever, I thought that he was, he had completed his, like, like the whole trajectory of like the 4 years plus like franchise or whatever, like, you know what I'm saying? Like the next step that it goes before he's supposed to get a new contract.
Yeah,
no, I don't think he ever won one.
And that's why he had to
Aaron
get back.
Hernandez show coming out. I gotta check out that trailer and see what that's all about. But
yeah,
the rating changed from 4 fitteds to
I don't know. No, the trailer looks good.
A visor and a do-rag.
The trailer looks good. The trailer looks good.
Do we have a rating system for the trailers?
No, we should. I should.
Does the trailer have maybe an expected rating forecast of what we think the rating could possibly be just based off of the trailer?
True. So we might have to discuss, bring to the table.
Yeah.
So, like I was saying, all kidding aside, when because I had asked you last week if you were worried about the Hassan Reddick thing, you said you weren't worried about it at all, which made sense to me at the time. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this whole thing has been kind of strange. Out of nowhere, he requests. Well, I mean, maybe I shouldn't even say out of nowhere because it depends on kind of how you viewed this thing. There's been kind of such little concrete communication, at least publicly, that I don't really know if anybody really knew where each side stood, because now I'm hearing people coming out after the trade request was made. People are saying, oh, well, you could kind of see the last week it was kind of headed in this direction. But so he makes a trade request on Monday, right? And then right after that, Joe Douglas releases a statement, we're not going to trade him, which I think caught me by surprise, just because this is not the first time a Jet under the Joe Douglas years has requested a trade, and I don't recall there ever being this immediate public statement released. Obviously, these are unique circumstances, but I mean, I thought it was interesting that they released this, this statement, and not only they released a statement regarding the trade, but also like a statement that just was worded pretty aggressively.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I mean, listen, I don't know what kind of conversations have taken place behind the scenes. We can get into the conversation about who has the leverage, whatever. But I don't know what to make of the wording, the aggressive kind of confrontational wording of that statement. The fact that there was a statement released at all, I feel like was maybe just a little bit of a saving face because of the unique circumstances of them having made the trade. And I feel like it was, I personally think it was smart for Joe Douglas to release a statement and kind of get ahead of the whole, oh, how could you trade for this guy, whatever. But the wording of the statement was definitely not calming down the situation for sure. I feel like it was an escalation statement. So what is your, now, having a day, I guess, or a day or two to kind of survey the landscape, what are your thoughts on the situation in general, Hassan Reddick's side of it, Joe Douglas' side of it, the statement, the wording of the statement? How do you receive all this?
Yeah, I mean that statement, like they put the white background. That background should have been Joe Douglas's chest, like with the print on top of it. Because the way that he said, like just the wording, it could also be just like the way you read it because of like the aggressive nature of or like the tense situation to begin with, that you read it with that sort of like it might as well have been periods at the end of, or like all in caps, like when you see tweets like that or text messages with a period at the end, like it had that tone to it. But I mean, I think like, I feel like obviously there's different ways that everything is being looked at. I mean, in my opinion, it had like the way that they put out that statement, it made it seem like, yeah, something changed in terms of like when the trade happened, and from that time to this time, like it kind of feels like maybe they tried to change what was going on, or like, maybe like trying to get one over, like in terms of like kind of baiting somebody into, trading, and then, flipping it on it. Now you traded for me, so now I have the leverage on you because you're gonna look like a fool if you traded.
Hold on a second. You lost me. Start again. You said the wording of the statement would say that again.
The wording of the statement made it seem as if like they're offended by the trade request, in terms of like, yo, I thought we talked about what we were going to do, and something changed on Hassan Reddick's side, because for him not to show up to begin with, because he's never been there. That's what I was saying. Like, he's never been a Jet. He hasn't been on the Jets yet. So it's not like they lost him because he's never been there.
Yeah.
Because so it's almost like okay, so you want to you don't want to come in, you don't want to participate in anything, but you want us to give you all of this money before you even show up. So it's almost like something had to be changed, like flipped, for that to be the reaction to it. You know what I'm saying? I don't think, like you said, like there's been other trade requests, and this is not like the normal way that they've responded to that. So I feel like they're trying to, kind of strong arm into some leverage. But fine, like I get it from in terms of like Hassan Reddick. He's been underpaid for a while, and obviously he saw the writing on the wall. Like the Eagles signed other people, they wanted to make it somebody else's problem. But he's a good pass rusher. You know what I'm saying? So it's it's not like he doesn't the his leverage is how good he is. But like we said, it's he still has a year. He still has a year left on his contract, and I know he wants to get paid because he's seeing the numbers. And I get it, like the way the numbers shot up. But it's like at the end of the day, you know, you can't just sit out and then next year you're a free agent. You can't just sit out and like let's say like Le'Veon Bell did. You know that what it didn't work out when he came back. In terms of him getting his money, yeah, maybe. But in terms of like the what his career trajectory was after he came back, coincidentally, you know, enough on the Jets or whatever. But I don't know. It's a weird situation. And honestly, I just think that the way that I think the way that the Jets also think they have more leverage is because I know like they traded a pick for him, obviously third round pick. It's a valuable pick, but we're talking about a pick not next year. We're talking a pick in 2 years. So like to me, it's almost like, you know, they're gonna sit back and be like, you know what, if you don't show up, if you don't show up, it's not like we're losing anything this year. So I feel like maybe that like that's kind of like that's the leverage that they thought that they were going to be able to work with. And I don't know, it's just going to be a standoff. But we know he's not going to sit out because I don't think he gains anything by sitting out. It's almost like how many times do players ultimately end up holding out? I mean, I know some of them end up, you know, getting the contracts or whatever, but at the end of the day, I just feel like we don't see this that often.
Yeah. So where do you think this goes? Because I just find it amazing that this could happen. Like, we see what's going on with San Francisco with Brandon Ayuk, and it seems like everybody who's interested in trading for Brandon Ayuk is doing, I don't know if maybe they're learning from what the mistakes that the Jets made, or if kind of everybody already knew this. I don't know, but it seems like everybody's kind of doing it the other way in terms of making sure that whatever contractual situation needs to be settled before there's a trade made. They're not making a trade without having that set in stone. And you hear all kinds of different, you hear, obviously, the weird thing is that there hasn't really been a ton of public statements from Hassan Reddick or appearances. Like you said, he hasn't been to the facility. He hasn't really said much publicly. All I've heard from the Jets side, or at least from the reporting from the Jets side, is that they're claiming that they had, I don't know if you want to consider it a handshake agreement, or that he had given them his word that he was going to show up to camp and don't worry, and that he had said that, I guess, when he first came to the facility for the physical and spoke to the media. But why does this stuff only happen to the Jets? Can you provide some clarity for? Like, I've never even heard of this. Who's ever heard of a player getting traded and demanding a trade before he even is with the team? I've never even heard of anything like this.
I think. Well, I mean, oh, wait a second.
Do you not think that? Do you
hold on? No. Hold on.
Joe Douglas made any mistakes here?
Hold on. Okay, yes, but let's not. I wore this jersey completely randomly. I swear to God that I had no intention or like double intentions when I put this jersey on. But you just asked that question, and I just so happen to be wearing the jersey of the person who did that. Am I wrong? Did he ever play for the Raiders?
He played more for the Raiders than Reddick did, and
no, I don't think he. I think he just signed it and had that whole thing about the helmet before he even played, and then he ended up getting traded again.
Yeah, no, but he was in the facility.
Well, yeah,
he was in the facility and he agreed to a contract with the team. The Raiders didn't trade for him and not give him the contract that the Steelers weren't going to give him.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, it was just that was
his
just
trade
completely
request
random.
was just because he's a lunatic and he had problems with John Gruden, and but it wasn't. It wasn't that the Raiders didn't want to trade him.
Yeah.
And
But
the Raiders paid him. They wanted him to. They wanted to build around him. Like,
I to me, I just think that I think the Jets were taking a calculated risk. Because they don't. So I think that the difference with like Brandon Ayuk, right? Any team that wants to trade for Brandon Ayuk is because they want him on the team for the next 4 or 5 years. I don't think that's the case with Hassan Reddick. I think what they were trying to do is just, see if he balls out for that 1 year, with the depth of the defensive line. Be like, yo, throw that make the sales pitch of like, yo, our rotations are not that. It's not like you're going to be playing 75-80% of the snaps. We got a deep rotation. You're going to be able to eat off Quinnen and the middle and the other pressure and the other guys that we have. Come here for a year, put up 15 sacks or whatever, and then
so
get your money.
Of the belief that he just lied, that he just lied and is not that. He just lied to Joe Douglas and to the Jets. He said he was going to play. He said he'd be willing to play for a year, and then now he just lied, or he changed his mind.
No, it couldn't be. To me, I don't know. I don't believe it to be that blatant. But I'm saying, like, my thinking is that maybe like that was their pitch to him, and maybe like that's why he was like, all right, see how this works. Because like you said, like at the introductory press conference, he was like, I'm gonna be here. I'll let my agent work, and in the front office work that out. So it's like it almost seems like, yeah, that's what they kind of sold to him. Then, maybe he bought in initially, and I don't know, something must have changed. And it, like I said, I'm not assigning blame to anybody specifically because we don't really know this stuff. Everything we hear is either from the Jets or from Hassan Reddick's agent. So it's like,
So do
all of these.
Feel like you don't care if he plays because the Jets don't need him?
I mean, not to say I don't care, because obviously I would want him to play, but it's like I said, like I told you, like we were saying last week, it's like of the positions that like on this team, if there was a position that you could be able to deal with an absence of a player that, like I said before, you didn't have in reality, you never had to begin with.
You can say you never had to begin with, but you had him penciled in as your starting defensive lineman because you were down defensive lineman from last year. It's not like he was just an addition to the exact same squad you had last year and he was like a total luxury piece. Like he was there to fill a spot. Like they did have him in the plans to fill a spot. It wasn't like he just.
Yeah, no, I get it. But this was, this wasn't part of free agency. This wasn't part of the draft. This happened right before the draft. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it almost feels like he wasn't there. It was like an opportunity that popped up, and I think that's why they're trying to do it like maybe they took a calculated risk because, like I said, like they didn't even trade this year's pick. It was next year's pick. So it's almost like. That's why I was like, yo, okay, they don't have any intent to sign him long term because probably the thinking is, okay, we'll play this year, then we'll lose him in free agency. We'll get a 3rd round pick back as a compensatory pick. So basically, we traded a 3rd round pick for a 3rd round pick in 2026. So that's why I'm like, I just think maybe they just took a calculated risk. By doing it that way, as opposed to and kind of waiting and seeing, as opposed to yo, all right, we traded a 2nd round pick this year. You're our guy. We have to give you a contract. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know.
No, I mean I
It
know what
just
you mean.
doesn't.
I just don't understand. Like I understand the calculated risk, but that just to me doesn't. If we already knew he wasn't going to play defensive end for the Eagles for a year under his last contract, a team that he was already with and familiar with, he wanted to be moved. Like the whole point of wanting to be moved was not because he hated the Eagles and didn't want to be in Philly, is because they weren't going to pay him what he wanted to be paid. I just don't
Yeah,
understand how Joe Douglas could have traded for this guy, knowing that
without something in stone.
the reason he's available for what he's available for, knowing he wants to be paid, and it falls apart. I just don't understand what kind of plan that was, and not
Yeah,
only what kind of plan that was when you did have him set to be a starter on your team. Like he was
yeah.
filling a spot with at least one player that you lost from last year, and I just don't understand the idea of trading for a guy who like you say they figured they're gonna trade for him. He's gonna play 1 year, and then we lose him, and we get a compensatory pick. How do you think that way when he already wasn't gonna play for the Eagles? Why would you think he's gonna play for you under the contract that he wasn't gonna play for the Eagles under? I just don't understand
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I get it, but that's why it's like we're not the only ones that don't understand it. So that's why I feel like there had to be something that was misconstrued in all of this for this to be the case because that's pretty obvious in terms of like on the surface. Okay, you probably shouldn't do this. You know what I'm saying? You probably shouldn't trade for a player.
But what's the
You know,
misconstrued? Because like you're saying that they thought he was going to play under that contract. That's what you think? You think that they thought we're going to trade for him. He's not going to want. He didn't want to play for the Eagles, but he's going to want to play here under the same contract, maybe a little extra boosted money for this year. He's going to be okay with that here when we knew he wasn't okay with that with Philadelphia. That's what you're
yeah.
telling me that the Jets were thinking? Because if
I
that's what you're
mean,
telling me that you think the Jets were thinking, then I think we don't need to know. I don't think anything happened. I think what happened was they traded for a guy that was never going to play under the contract, thinking he was going to play under the contract.
yeah, but I mean,
or hoping
yeah,
that.
yeah, but what I'm saying is, it's like, I just think that it's too cut and dry for that to be the case. Like, obviously, if the guy wants a big contract, everything, like, and all of the money and whatever else, it's like in the years or whatever, it's it's too cut and dry that for something else not to be like a variable in it. It just doesn't make sense. If that's the case, then yeah, I'm with you. Like, that doesn't make sense to begin with. But I'm saying it's like there has to
No,
be
but I'm
something
saying
else
what
because
you just told me. You surmised the Jets' logic was that is flawed logic to me. If you're telling me that you think that that's what they were thinking when they made the deal and it was a calculated risk, to me it was a stupid risk because we already knew he wasn't going to play under that contract. So I mean, at the
yeah,
end of the day, I don't think it's a huge deal. Like the simple equation of having Hassan Reddick or not having Hassan Reddick, like you said, he was never with the team, so it's not a huge loss. But the that method of putting together a team just seems so stupid. Like I just don't understand how you trade for a guy. You let a starter that you had on the D line go. Ironically, he goes to Philadelphia, Huff,
Mhm.
and you assume that Reddick is going to be the replacement. But I always viewed it as okay. They viewed Reddick as a better player. They rather pay him than pay Huff. But I never assumed that they would have made that trade without the intentions of giving him the contract or if anything close to the contract he wants. Because to me, if that was their plan, that was a stupid plan. Because
yeah,
unless they thought he was playing, that he was joking around, that he wasn't going to play. Everything that I heard from Philadelphia before the trade was that this dude wanted to be paid and that he was going to hold out, whether it was Philadelphia or anywhere else.
yeah.
Mhm.
Well, like I said, like, I mean, maybe, but what I'm saying is, like, something got lost there because there had to be a bit like something where it's like maybe the contract demand changed. Maybe like, maybe initially they were like, all right, yo, we'll sweeten this year up and then you could be a free agent. Maybe all of that just changed and then he was like, yo, you know what? I don't want to be, I want a long-term deal. So this some of the back stuff that obviously we don't know. So I just feel like it's like I said, like and how you detailed. Yeah, I agree with you. If that was the thing, if it was only a calculated risk in terms of like, yeah, let's see if we could call his bluff. Yeah, that's stupid. But what I'm saying is like it just feels like there was other stuff in play here that
To me, I
that
just feel
made
like that's what they did. Like exactly what you said. I feel like I feel like the calculated risk was we're going to call his bluff. We're not going to pay because just like you said, if people are trading for Brandon Ayuk, it's with the plans of having him be there for an extended period of time. I thought they were trading for Reddick to have him be there. Maybe not for fucking 10-year deal. But I just assumed like they want this guy. They plan on having him not be here for just 1 year because he doesn't want to be anywhere for 1 year. He wanted a deal. We all knew that. So I'm just like I don't know how much. Even if he lied, even if he switched up his demands or his contract demands, I mean, I don't know. I just don't. I'm getting the vibes that they traded for him with no intentions of extending him, and I feel like that was a big no. I mean, ultimately, it's not they didn't give up a ton of stuff, but they did have him. The way that the roster moves that Joe Douglas made around building the defensive line with Hassan Reddick and losing pieces, that just tells me that he was very comfortable and confident that whatever his plan was with Hassan Reddick was going to work out. And if that plan was we're going to call his bluff and he's going to play, I think that was foolish.
Yeah.
Try to call his huff.
That's what we needed. Caso cerrado.
No, but real talk though, I think it's a little bigger than what you guys making it seem. Like where's it like
bigger than
that's your past?
Bigger than I'm making it seem?
They're both for you guys. Like it's not that big of a deal, but for the Jets' success, I think it is a big deal.
I think we always overvalue what one player can do for a team.
I'm not trying to minimize it. I'm saying I don't think it's going to be the difference between the Jets having a successful season. I think they can have a successful season without having Hassan Reddick. But like I just finished saying, I do think it's a big deal in terms of Joe Douglas built this year's version of that defense, specifically that defensive line, with Hassan Reddick penciled in as the starter on the D line, and
because I feel like pass
that's
rush
a big
was
piece to miss. I think that they still have enough, good talented players on defense that the defense does not hinge on whether or not Hassan Reddick is there in terms of whether or not they can be a good defense. I think they can I think they could still be a good defense, but they're not.
But I feel like Reddick might have been
be what they could have been.
Exactly. I feel like he might be that push. He might be that push that y'all might need in the playoffs and against those, against the top quarterbacks and shit like that. Like he's a pass rusher. That's one thing that the Jets need, man. You got great DB play and solid, linebacker play. That pass rush is crucial for you guys to get to that next tier. You know what I mean?
I get you, but I mean, the other thing is, they were top defense already last year. Like Hassan Reddick is, he's still he'd be the fourth best player on defense still. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I get it.
Rank those for me.
But your top pass rusher though.
Sauce. Yeah, Quinnen is 2. And I mean, you could really pick. I guess Quincy, Quinnen. I mean, Quincy, CJ, and Hassan Reddick. It'd be there.
But you got to put
No.
Stop.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I'm giving him respect because he's an
Respect is
all-pro.
one thing, but trying to say that
Yeah,
he's better than Hassan Reddick
No,
is,
no, no, no.
come on,
I mean, but
relax.
I mean, obviously, we're not talking about in terms of like pass rushing, but in terms of overall, what he does for the
for the
defense. I'm
team
saying,
Okay. He
yeah.
overall he is ranked behind Hassan Reddick in terms of
all
players on the
right,
defense. Come on,
okay, but
don't be crazy.
Quince,
You're
but I
bigger,
wasn't
better than
even,
that.
initially, I wasn't even like Quincy Williams was the guy that I was thinking third. You know
Yeah,
what
I
I'm
think
saying?
yeah, that was, but that was I was that was why I asked. I figured that's who
Yeah.
it was, but
But since Reddick is a pass rusher, that's more valuable, I
Well,
think.
way
yeah,
more
obviously,
valuable.
yeah, obviously, but you know what I'm saying? Like in general terms, it's there's a lot of defenses that would not be the case. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
No, definitely, definitely. I understand that. But again, I just feel like from watching the games that I watched last year, I would, pass rush is something that I would, I think, it would be fun to see. That
I mean,
secondary with that pass rush. Uh, things like that. You know what I'm saying?
no, I mean also the caveat. I just think at the end of the day, this shit's gonna get figured out. You
I
know what
hope
I'm
so.
saying?
I
You
hope
think
so.
it's gonna? You
Yeah,
think
it's
that
gonna get.
what's gonna get figured out in terms of
They're
he's
gonna
gonna
pay him.
play under the
He's gonna play.
contract, or you think
He's
he's
gonna
gonna
play.
sign with the
I don't.
Jets?
I don't know what the deal's gonna be, but he's gonna play. He's gonna end up playing for the Jets. Um, and you know what I say? Like
I'm
if
just
it if
worried that
it
he's gonna show up. Because to tell you the truth, I feel like at this point, if the Jets don't plan on extending him, they should hope that he's just gonna try to sit out and not show up to the facility at all.
mm,
Because I feel like his only move at this point now that he's already requested the trade, they said that they're not gonna honor the trade request. And basically, like I said, that was why I was making the whole point about the aggressive language in the statement. Basically, the statement was, we're not going to do what you want. I run the show here. Get your ass. So you're
take a
going to come
walk.
here and play. You're going to come here and play under the contract. And that's it. We're not extending you. We're not making the trade. Nothing. That's what I got from the
Yeah.
from the statement. And I don't know what Hassan Reddick's plan is here. I mean, I want to believe he's thought this through and has some sort of a plan as to how he's going to go about, trying to manufacture leverage or what his plan is. But maybe he hasn't. But I feel like his only move at this point, since he's just going to lose millions of dollars getting fined if he doesn't ever show up. I feel like his only move that would be just bad for the Jets is if he shows up and pulls a fucking Jalen Ramsey. Oh, my back, my leg, nah, I'm here,
But the thing is,
but
he's not even showing
until
up.
they
That's the
fucking
thing.
send your ass over to LA.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Like he's not even showing up. So I feel like that's why this
But that's
is
what I'm saying. That's good. That's a good thing for the Jets. What I'm saying is they're better off with him not showing up if this is where they're at now, where you have Joe Douglas releasing these fucking statements and he's talking about, I want to be traded. I don't want to play for y'all niggas no more. Like
That's
if
crazy.
that's where they're at now, and we haven't even played the second preseason game. I'm just like, I kind of feel like you're better off he don't show up at all, because if you're not gonna pay him, I don't know that I can trust what he's got up his sleeve.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because he clearly he's standing on business. He's trying to get paid. He's not, he views himself as not playing around. Joe Douglas views himself as not playing around. Is basically who's gonna blink. I just feel like I'd be surprised if Hassan Reddick is just going to fold and show up and, okay, I'm going to play, I'm going to put my body on the line without getting my money.
There's definitely going to be some face saving for this. There's going to have to be some face saving for everything to be patched up. Like
Well, I think Joe
he's
Douglas already saved face with that statement.
yeah, but still, he's still, at the end of the day, you still want him there. Like you need that hood ornament on the defense that that puts up those numbers that that
Yeah, but
that,
does he want that?
No.
Does he need that? Because if he wanted that and he need that, then why is the contract? Why? Because
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like even if you're speculating that they have no intentions of signing him. That's where I'm just like, what are they doing then? Like, if
Yeah.
they didn't have the intentions of signing him, then what are they doing?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they have a lot of players that they have to start paying soon. So I think that that's why their intention was 1 year, and then we start paying our guys, and
Yeah,
that
but that's
that's
buffoonery though, because he wasn't about that. He was never
yeah.
about that. He wasn't gonna do that 1 year shit. You knew that this was gonna be the result if you were gonna try to think like, oh, we're gonna trade you. Oh well, I would. Do we even know anything about what has been talked in terms of numbers, in terms of what he's looking
No,
for and what the Jets have offered? Has any of that been leaked or even
No,
speculated
I don't
upon?
think so. I haven't heard anything.
no, no.
I'm surprised because I feel like that's going to be the next thing that's going to get leaked out. Whether it's going to be from Hassan Reddick trying to save
Yeah,
his face, or whether it's from Joe Douglas's camp trying to save their face on some, yeah, well, we offered him this, and because that I feel like that's what's going to end up happening if this. I thought Joe Douglas saved face with that statement because to me you can't trade him now. That's just crazy. I mean, I guess you can, but I mean, what a waste. But I feel like Joe Douglas, he has all the leverage in this situation. The only thing, like I said, the only thing I feel like Hassan Reddick could do to kind of force his hand and make trouble is if he decides to show up and is on some disruptive type shit, which it's weird. It's crazy because I feel like he's in the perfect position to do that because he doesn't owe the Jets shit. Literally doesn't
yeah,
owe them shit. He doesn't know anybody. I mean, I'm sure he knows them, a few people on the team just kind of through wherever. But it's not like he didn't fucking play with them. He doesn't owe them shit. Like he can go in there and just be a dick in
yeah.
ways that other players holding out from teams that they were on maybe can't do because they at least have some kind of blood in the sand with the team that they were with. He literally doesn't owe them shit. He can just show up and do whatever he wants, fucking make a fucking stink. That's his only move at this point. I don't know if he's gonna go that route, but like if he's not gonna do that, he can't sit out the year
Yeah.
for multiple reasons. He can't. I mean, he could sit out the year if he really wants to give up that money and take those fines. I don't see why anybody would want to do that. But if you want to play that game, I guess
And
you
then
could
he'd
do
have to,
that. But it doesn't
and then he'd have
benefit
to
him
be,
at all because he's still not a free agent at the end of the year anyway.
yeah, and he'd be on the initial contract. And also, it's like something that's over. Like he's 29, and like we don't take into account like these football players, like the great ones, they want to put up their numbers. Like, like even let's say Justin Jefferson, when he had his, he
But that's
wanted
the
his
thing. I think he
contract.
feels like he put up his numbers. The only number he wants to put up now is that fucking contract number. He feels like that's
Yeah, I
probably
got you.
his point. He feels like I put up numbers. You look at everybody's sack totals over the last however many years. I'm up there with the dudes that's making twice as much as me.
Yeah.
And
No,
that's
I
why
got you. I
he's
got
like, yeah, I've been putting up numbers. I'm not gonna keep putting up these numbers and getting paid, a fraction of what I'm worth.
you. Yeah.
That's
I
exactly
feel
what
you.
it is. Yeah.
I mean, just like missed time in terms of like missing time that doesn't allow you to put up, the all-time stats. Like when when you retire, like,
No, I
oh,
feel
he
you,
only had
but I just feel like
110, he
at
could
this
have had
point,
125.
from everything I'm seeing from what he's doing and how he's going about this, to me, it's pretty clear that at this point, the numbers that he's concerned about putting up is the salary numbers. He clearly feels comfortable in the numbers that he put up in Philadelphia the last few years, and he's
Definitely.
willing to sacrifice whatever he needs to do to be compensated appropriately.
Definitely.
Like I don't think he's gonna come back and play because oh God, I'm so worried about my
For the love of the
football
game.
legacy. I can't be off the field. I got to keep these numbers up. I think from
Yeah.
what we've seen from him, I don't know that that's his priority at the moment.
Right.
But we'll see how it plays out. I don't know. I mean, like I question, what the plan was. I question what the plan was on the Jets side. I question what the plan is on Hassan Reddick's side because while I want to see the players get paid, pretty much always, but I just don't know. Like, I don't know what was said. I don't know what his plan is. I mean, he's in a tough spot, just given what the situation with his contract. He can't even do a Le'Veon Bell if he wanted to. Like, at least Le'Veon Bell had the option to. He wants to sit out a whole year. He at least then can make moves after that, do whatever he wants. Hassan Reddick can't even do that. He'll still be under contract with the Jets after this year is over. So, the only option he has at this point is to show up and just, do the new term that they're talking about, the hold in instead of a hold out. You hold in. I feel like that's really his only option. But I mean, we'll see how it goes. I don't know if they'll make any other roster moves to. I mean, not that there's at this point there's no consequential roster moves to be made at this point anyway.
I don't know
if you have something to provide, let's go. Let's hear it.
Did you see Matthew Judon?
You better not have been holding on to some nugget that you waited until
No,
until we're an hour in.
You saw Matthew Judon got traded to the Falcons for a 3rd-round pick. I mean, if we're talking about people who put up sack numbers, he's right up there. I think he might be the leader in sack numbers.
No, I think T.J. Watt is.
Well, he's a monster, but I'm saying in terms of there's still shit that obviously he wasn't happy with his contract.
So you're saying the Jets make another trade?
In. No, I'm just saying the general term that you said. There's no roster moves to be made.
Well, I'm talking about in terms of the Jets trying to supplement whatever trying to kind of build a little bit more of a safety net if this whole Hassan Reddick thing doesn't work out, because like I'm kind of on the fence. Like I don't, like I said, I don't think that they necessarily need him to be a good defense, but like I said, I think they had planned on him being a starter on the defense, and the defense will be lacking something for sure if he's not there. Do they try to, if they're not going to have him there, and they're so adamant about that they're not going to trade him, are there any other moves to be made? I don't see them making a trade. Now that Judon is off the market, I don't know that there is anybody else. Maybe who knows? Maybe there is, and we don't know about it. But I don't even know that the Jets even have the assets to make a move like that at this point, anyway. But
they have an extra 3rd-round pick, but I think they're saving that one for Devontae Adams.
Ooh. Yeah, so we shall see what happens. Maybe they can do a double trade and bring in Adams and Max Crosby. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
The Albanian over here in New York, man.
But so we have that going on with the Jets. Crazy stuff with the Jets. The Giants, I feel like not too much going on with the Giants other than Daniel Jones's beard and I mean, that's really it. That's all I've heard of it. The Giants have not been a big topic of controversy or conversation ever since the Hard Knocks has ended. They've kind of faded into the background. But what about Neighbors?
Hey, he has a sprained ankle.
So does Tracy, which...
Tracy, yeah, that was initially like, because I watched the preseason game and he was killing it.
That's like the let me see. Besides Neighbors, offensively, I'm a little excited about the tight ends, but he's like Tyron Tracy's like the main dude. I'm like excited about. You know what I'm saying? Like besides,
for real, he ran hard, bro. Like he had that style that
he's not gonna pass motor. All right. Please. Let's not be ridiculous.
That would be stupid.
The idea that someone could leapfrog Motor on the depth chart is just absurd.
That's crazy. But there's always room for a backup behind Motor, because what we do know is that motor is not one of the good motors. That's one of the motors that like General Motors. You know what I'm saying? Like back in the day. That they always in the shop. You know what I'm saying? Like, because we know that Devin Singletary, he's good, but he's on the shelf a lot. or
Yeah.
at least he used to be. So Tyrone Tracy and Eric Gray too. He looked pretty. He looked pretty good to me too in the
Yeah.
preseason game. But yeah, I think his name.
I have to see a lot more.
I think Eric Gray's name is what kind of does it kind of he doesn't have that Tyrone Tracy is a name that like you know what I'm saying, like when you see him running, remember that's Tyrone Tracy. Oh shit. You know what I'm saying? So and he
Yeah,
plays with that power,
he does.
but they did fear that he had a broken leg.
Yeah, but it
And if
wasn't
they
though. It was.
no,
It was.
yeah, it wasn't, but
Yeah,
it
thank
was
God,
an
yo, because
ankle or whatever.
I'm very excited about. That's one. Like I said, he's one of the bright spots that I'm looking forward to for the season. So
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Let's see what happens, man. But yeah, I don't know. I seen Singletary gave out a statement about Daniel Jones trying to rally
Mm,
the New York Giant fans behind Jones, and
mm,
it's all
yeah.
cute, man. But all that shit don't mean nothing, bro. I want to see. I gotta see it.
Even with a beard,
I
it
gotta.
doesn't mean anything.
Even with the beard and making old girl stutter on ESPN live and all that,
Oh, I
that
didn't
shit
see
don't
that.
mean.
What are you talking about? What is that? What happened?
What old girl from that used to be in Wake Up Football, whatever American, what is
But
that
no,
shit?
that's not ESPN. That's
Yeah, that's NFL Network,
Kay
right?
Adams. No,
Yeah, Kay
well, she's
Adams.
not. She
What is
has her
she?
own thing.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
I saw that he was on the K Adams thing. That's what you're talking about? I didn't watch it, but I
Yeah,
saw that he
yeah.
was on there.
He was like mad, like Mr. Cool Swagger Boy, and then she started fumbling like, and everybody trying to make it a big deal, like, oh his
His
swag is
Riz.
back or whatever. Yeah,
And
his
what's is
Riz
he
is. Oh,
married? He has kids, or what's his
oh fuck
situation?
it. I couldn't give a fuck less. I couldn't give a fuck
What
less.
do you mean you couldn't give a
I
fuck less? You give a fuck about him flirting with Kay Adams, but you don't give a fuck if he has a married with
I
kids?
couldn't care. I don't care. I mean, if he's married with children, then we might have a quarterback in the hands. But
Then he might get 3 touchdowns in the game. Hey,
four, hey,
oh,
uh,
4. My bad. My
Was
fault.
it for?
yeah,
What was the name of that school?
Polk
poke
High.
high. Yeah, don't poke the
Yes.
Giants. Hey, guess don't poke the Giant. You might have to poke a little too high
Well,
there, buddy. But
also remember
so
that
stupid.
Al Bundy was the coach against the Little Giants.
Yes.
Ooh.
So during
Who
The
very
web.
famously hit his nuts on that tree bench and said, "Oh, doctor."
Felt-
That's my favorite part of the movie. My favorite.
yeah.
Hey, there's a giant spider web there of things, but I don't know, man. I'm not buying it yet. I'm not buying the Danny Jones thing.
Well,
and
they're trying to sell it. They're
I
trying
know,
to
I
sell
know.
it.
The stock. I
Wait, so
feel like
you're
the
not
Giant stock
buying it
has
that
raised.
what? You're not buying that he's going to be the starter, or you're not
No,
buying
no,
that
he's a starter. He's
that
a
he's
starter.
good.
Who the fuck is gonna start? I'm not buying
Well,
that.
there's people. There's a whole movement to try to
Yeah,
get
for
Tommy
Locke.
Cutlets to look.
Oh yeah, and Lock too, right? At one point, but I don't want to
No,
get
No,
Lock.
Locke is
want
hurt.
Locke.
Didn't Locke get hurt?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
did.
they don't. They want Tommy Cutlets to
locked
be the
out.
number 2.
Well, he
Yeah,
is
well-
the number 2 now. That Locke is hurt, right?
Well, yeah.
But I heard
I'm
that
saying
they wanted Tommy Cutlets they wanted to get a look at him in preseason, and he should get an opportunity. It should be an
Yeah, I
open
did hear
competition.
that.
Oh!
And
I did hear that. I did hear that. But I don't. I'm not. I'm not concerned with that. I'm not concerned with that at all. I think
so
Dave
you don't
will
want
have
Tommy
to.
Cutlets.
Nah, for what?
I don't know, because you hate Daniel Jones. I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
asking.
but Daniel Jones is the best option at quarterback. I mean, that's not
For any team.
unless he's broken. Unless he's like, because there's a possibility that Daniel Jones is broken and nobody's really entertaining that shit. Everybody's like, oh well, he got his number 1 receiver. Oh well, they fixed the O line. We should get a better Daniel Jones. But if the kid is broken, the kid is broken, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Nobody really mentions that. Like, the kid looked bad. Everybody brings up the injuries, but the kid looked bad when he was healthy. You know what I'm saying? Like, there is a probability that the kid's broken and he's not gonna be good.
Yeah.
But
you know what the thing is you're right about that. But at the same time, I thought he was broken 2 years ago.
yeah,
Like I was like, yo, like after they hired Dable, Like Dable's first year, I thought,
Yeah.
okay, Daniel Jones is broken. I thought he was broken in two ways. I thought he was broken
Mhm.
mentally, and I thought he was also broken physically. In two, he wasn't going to
Yeah,
hold up
yeah,
for the whole season.
Well,
Then
yeah,
all of a
what?
sudden, he comes out of nowhere and plays every game, makes it to
yeah,
the playoffs. Then it's like, okay, maybe he's not broken,
yeah.
and now maybe, and then
So,
after last year, maybe he's broken again. I don't
so,
know.
so this is the thing. He's a system quarterback. He's not. You can't just open up the playbook with Daniel Jones. I don't think so. Like I
No,
know we
come
didn't
on.
have
How could
the.
you say that?
I didn't think we had the receivers to open up the playbook like that. But when we went to the playoffs that year, it was a simple first read, if not take off. Right. Second year is like, okay, we have a quarterback. Let's have him throw the ball around, and that shit failed miserably. So now I have a feeling Dable's going back to simplifying things, maybe not the takeoff, but get the ball out quick, or dink and dunk, then take the top off. I told you, I said it on here before. I think they're doing their best Miami Dolphins rendition. You know what I mean? They're not. They're the poor man's. They're trying to do the poor man's Tyreek Hill with the poor man's Waddle with the poor man's running backs. It's with with the system quarterback. I think that's what this is, and that's what I'm expecting to see. And I think and there's a possibility Daniel Jones looks good, but I don't think that's going to speak to his if he's good or not. I still think, and if we still have to have a future plan for a quarterback in the future, even if he balls out solid with a solid numbers this year, you know. But
I
Yeah.
think
that's
the answer
that's
for
to
the
be seen.
Giants, they need to go to Colorado and bring back Pat Shermer to be the
Mm,
OC, because that's the only time we've seen anything resembling Danny Dimes. The only time he ever looked like he was going to be
that's true.
potentially a big time quarterback
That's true.
was with Pat Shermer. I
Hey,
think they
but
bring
I
back
have
Pat
faith in
Shermer
Dable,
to
man.
be OC. You can keep Dable as the coach, and that's how you fix what is broken. You fix him with Pat Shermer. He has the secret antidote to fix Daniel Jones. It's not
Yeah,
gonna happen, but that's
maybe.
the only way, I think.
Look,
That's the
I don't
only
know.
time we've seen him
I'm
be
not
good.
out. I'm not out on Dable. I'm not out on Dable. I've been solid
No, I'm
on
not
here.
out on Dable. I'm just saying I don't think he has the secret antidote to fix Daniel Jones. The only way that Daniel Jones will be fixed is will be under Pat Shermer.
Well, maybe. I don't
Like
know.
even if he was just the OC, I just feel like that was the only time we seen him have real promise as a potential starting quarterback in the league.
No, I
I'm
get
not
it.
saying obviously
I
they're
get
not
what
gonna
you're
do
saying.
it.
Yeah, yeah. I know.
Obviously
I know.
they're
I
not
know.
gonna
You're
do
being
it.
funny.
I'm just bringing up the fact that like
Yeah, that was his best.
no
But
one,
let's see. Let's
everybody
see.
views Pat Shermer's time with the Giants as being a total failure and a joke.
Yeah.
No, I mean half people don't even remember he was the coach of the Giants. He was
I
only there
know.
for a year, but that was the one and only year that Daniel Jones actually looked like he could be something.
Yeah. I can never forget because I used it. I used him in a bar, Pat Shermer. But Dable, man, I'm so happy Dable's taking charge of the play calling, and there's a lot of things that I'm excited about.
So you
So
love
it's
Dable.
like love. I tend to believe in Dable right now. I believe in him.
That sounds like love. I'm
Yeah.
hearing love.
It's not
I'm
blind love.
Also,
hearing the seeds, not even just the seeds. I feel like I'm seeing the sprouts of love. Not a full, not the Gettleman full bloom, petals
Yeah.
showing open springtime,
ass
but
Yeah.
I'm
ass wide
hearing
open.
the sprouts, the little seeds and
Well,
sprouts coming out of the ground, starting to take
if
root.
you recall, the Hard Knock started, I mentioned I really want to see how Dable acts like about Daniel Jones and things like that. I don't know if y'all remember,
Yeah, of
but
course.
in the episode he said they asked him, "Do you want to go up and get this kid?" And he undoubtedly was like, "Yes, like let's like let's go get him." Like so, if the quarterback whisperer is telling you that, and he sees that. I don't know. Kind of that made me like him a little more, and I didn't see him really fall for the.
You like him because he shares your hatred for Daniel Jones.
He was like, you know what? You know what Brian Dable did first? he tried to break that nigga because like we were talking about, when he was doing he was trying his damn hardest to grind that nigga into fucking
push the blame on him, like
and into dust. It was like, God damn, that plan didn't work. He was like, all right, you know what? Let's just roll with him now. Okay, shit. Like now he got hurt. That plan didn't even work. So all right, so let's trade up for a quarterback. God damn it, that plan didn't even work either. So I feel like he was like at this point he was like, you know what? I'm not even gonna stress it right now. We're stuck with this motherfucker.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm gonna lose some weight. I'm gonna stop going crazy.
He looks good.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, no, but he lost me with Hard Knocks, man. He lost.
Yeah.
Me.
Wow.
Yes. You know why?
Nah, I don't.
Beard.
I can't fully trust a football coach who honestly thinks he can outrun anybody.
Yo, that was crazy.
He was embarrassing himself with that. At first,
crazy.
I thought he was playing.
Me
Once
too.
I realized this motherfucker is actually.
Once he asked like the third nigga,
real. He thinks he's serious,
yeah.
and I was like, is he like? Come on, man, you're embarrassing yourself.
Once he asked the third nigga, I'm like, this nigga's not playing.
Yeah, he was serious, and I'm like, yo, like that.
Rich Eisman will burn you.
I'm not gonna lie, that worries me. Like, yo, come on, man, get it together.
But that insanity, though, that insanity is what you don't. You
that's
only
what I'm saying. That insanity.
You don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what you
don't know. That's true. I mean, we've seen it backfire already with half the staff leaving. But
I'm just like,
I don't know,
this
man.
motherfucker's he's crazy. He's crazy if he thinking
he's
of all coaches to think that they're gonna compete with anybody in the 40. I mean, if you told me, Robert Saleh who's running the stairs and he looks like he looks like he jumped out of one of these fucking army
Ninja
insurance
Warrior.
commercials. You told me he thinks that he can outrun people in the 40. Maybe I'll be willing to, I'll be willing
like,
to
damn,
listen.
Nigga, like,
in 7 seconds.
Yo, like,
Crazy.
all right.
Nuts.
It's like, yo, nigga, you lost 20 pounds in the offseason.
I was just about to say.
Like,
he didn't even lose that yet. At that particular time,
he lost more than that. He lost more than that.
At that particular time?
Oh,
I think
okay.
He had lost it. I think he had started on his journey at that.
He started,
but maybe that's why he was gassed. He felt a little lighter on his feet. All of a sudden, this nigga thought he was going to go back to be playing free safety in college.
But maybe that's part of it, man. You believe it. You say it enough to yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's also there's also another term for that that's called insanity.
Yeah,
or ignorance. Either one.
But we shall see.
We'll see.
And I think your reasons for trusting and having some belief in Dable are valid. I think he has it as a coach. I just if he can kind of tighten up some of the crazy shit that we've seen from him last year, and kind of, I think it was his first head coaching job. I think he's learning from some of the things he probably would have done differently last year or even maybe the year before. And I feel like I'm seeing him kind of come across differently in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
so I'm just fucking around when I say that shit about. But that was crazy though. That was crazy.
That was crazy.
Yeah, man. People forget, like, yo, like imagine getting fired like after your first year at a job, like a promotion where you're not even first you're thrown into that to begin with. You don't you're not given a chance to get better. Like you're not given a chance to figure it out. I feel like it's good for
Pat Shermer.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I mean, they ended up being right because he didn't end up getting another head coaching job, right?
Nah, OC.
No. He went to being the OC for the Broncos, and then he went to.
Yeah.
Now he's with Deion over there in Colorado. He's going to be coaching He's going to be coaching next year's number 1 overall pick.
Well, see,
he might be the next Giants coach.
Well, yeah. Well,
hey, maybe he comes back.
Woo. Speaking of that, how do you feel about Bill Barnwell saying that the Giants are going to be
Barnwell a thing?
I don't know why.
What do you say?
I'm just saying that just because
completely fooled everybody and made up this nigga Bill Barnwell, and people care what he says. They made this nigga up.
It's crazy, bro.
What do you say?
Crazy. It's all bit. You know what it is? It's this obsession with analytics that they're trying to be like pretend like they're on the forefront of everything. And
Is
then they
that
have
his
this
deal? That's his thing?
yeah. But the thing is with that, it's not only it's not only analytics. He puts his own opinion, so he shapes analytics into what he wants to believe. So he's talking about Daniel Jones being, terrible or whatever, and there not being any talent on the like talent whatsoever on the Giants team. And it's like, yo, so you're just basing your shit up. You're not actually taking any context into this. All you're doing is putting in numbers and assuming that those numbers are going to be this year's numbers, and then formulating a take that the Giants are going to be the worst team in the. How did the Giants get worse? The Giants, there's no
Nah,
way
yeah.
besides Saquon Barkley.
Saquon, yeah.
Besides Saquon Barkley, but like as we've mentioned many a times, Saquon Barkley is often injured. Saquon Barkley didn't have that much effect on winning, but the Giants got better objectively in most spots. They lost, okay, a very good playmaker. They gained a potentially, top 10 wide receiver in the league in short order. Like, what are we doing assigning like, Bill Barnwell knows what he's talking about? No. Like it's crazy to
I'm
me
not
that
gonna give Bill Barnwell's every August I hear Bill Barnwell coming up. But I'm not gonna give this any energy. I don't know
man.
what his deal is.
But,
all I know is that every August he has some hot take that ESPN is running through the car wash and everybody talks about. I don't give
is
a
that
fuck
the Jets
what
dude? The one that said the Jets is going to be the
No.
worst team? Is that him?
Yeah. Yes.
it might be, yeah, but
last year that he said
yeah.
that was the take that was doing the rounds last year. That
Yeah,
he
I
said
remember
that
that.
the Jets were
I remember
going to be that they were going to finish last in the division, and everybody, how could you say that?
yeah.
They got Rodgers.
yeah.
I don't give a fuck what. Bill
Yeah, but
Barnwell
it's like,
says. I
yo,
don't know what kind of credibility he has.
But I can see the Giants.
But the thing is him getting
I can see the Giants fall on their face. That's not that.
But
crazy.
okay, but explain to me how they're going to be worse than the New England Patriots. Explain to me how they're going to be worse.
The Patriots have a better quarterback.
I'm about to say that if Drake May pans out, and if
Well,
not,
but
if Milton pans out, which is what a lot of people are saying.
Yeah, but he's not. He's not even starting. It's Jacoby Brissett. Explain to me how, like what
He's
what
back
are you
over there.
using?
He's back with the Patriots.
Yeah, dog.
Oh, I didn't even know that. That's what's up. Welcome home.
So he's
Bryce. Bryce Young is going to get. How much better is Bryce Young going to get all of a sudden? Because you're using statistics, to formulate future opinions. What has Bryce Young shown you?
Well, no,
that he's
I'm high on Bryce Young this year.
I understand, but if you're going to do that, if that's the route you're going to take, you can't pick and choose which young players are going to get better, which young players are going to get worse. That's opinion based, and that's gut.
Well, let this nigga Bill Barnwell do his thing. I don't get. We don't need. We don't need to even give his nonsense any oxygen.
I don't know how credible this is, but Ian Rappaport, you seen that Patriots trade Matthew Judon to the Falcons?
Yeah, he brought that up
Steve
earlier
Martin.
in the show. It'd be great if we're doing a great
Steve
show
Martin
here,
was a
breaking
prop
news.
comic.
Flex had that before you even Ian Rappaport. But
why the fuck did it say breaking news then? The fuck?
Because he was breaking it to you because you weren't paying attention when Flex said 20 minutes ago.
Well,
It was already broken.
was
This is like
broken,
this is like Brian Dable trying to break Daniel Jones again. I broke the news to you, and now you're trying to break it again.
Well, the fucking numbers are in for third rounder going back.
Well, yeah, I said that too.
That was Flex told us.
That was part
Flex
of it.
told us that
I
during
apologize.
the previous segment when we were talking about Hassan Reddick.
My bad.
All right, so
I missed that one.
I must have had the mute button on.
the last thing, I know y'all are not WNBA guys, but there's a story that I'm curious to hear y'all's perspective on, and you don't even have to be following the WNBA at all. I'm actually going to talk to a college the girl who I know who played ball in college about this tomorrow. I'm going to try to see if I can get her to be on the show because this is something that I think is interesting. And something that I don't feel qualified to talk about. As much as I follow the WNBA, I'm not a woman, so I don't feel qualified to discuss the deep dive when it comes to the innards of what's going on, and particularly professional women's organizations and locker rooms. But so, I think Flex. It sounds like you have an idea of what I'm going to talk about. I don't know if
Nah.
you guys know what's going on, but former Las Vegas Aces player Dearica Hamby, who actually was just playing on the 3-on-3 women's team in the Olympics this last week or whatever. She's suing the WNBA and the Las Vegas Aces because she says that she was treated with discrimination for getting pregnant. And I was reading I've tried to read as much as I can about this situation because it's something that I never really considered and something that I don't think I've ever heard discussed when it comes to women's sports and how pregnancy impacts a player. So she got pregnant. According to her, she got pregnant and communicated with the team that she was pregnant. This was all supposed to be taking place during the off season, and she said that she would be ready to go when the season starts. And I guess she didn't feel good about the way that the coach specifically and just the team in general reacted to her telling them that she's pregnant. They didn't really like it. She said, according to the lawsuit, I'll read you some of this information that I have here. During a phone call between Coach Hammond and Dearica Hamby on January 15th, 2023, Hammond asked her whether she planned her pregnancy. When Hamby responded that she did not plan her pregnancy, Hammond told Hamby that she wasn't taking proper precautions to not get pregnant. That's part of her lawsuit. During that same call, Hammond questioned Hamby's commitment and dedication to the team, telling her that she was a question mark. Now, just based off of that right there, these things are being presented by Dearica Hamby as if they're like, I guess, discriminatory, out of line, insensitive, not lacking in compassion. I don't know however you want to describe it. But for me, and again, this is why I want to talk to a woman about this, because I don't know how women feel about this. I would love to hear. I don't think any of her former teammates from the Aces have spoken about this, but the Las Vegas Aces, she was on the team that won the champ. Like, she was traded away from a team that won a championship. The Las Vegas Aces are and have been the best team in the WNBA for the last couple of years. So the reason why I bring that up is because they're clearly a team that takes the roster construction and winning very seriously. They're not just out here fucking around. Not to say that the other teams are fucking around, but I just look at it like, I don't know how mad I am at the coach for being like, yo, we trying to win out here. Are you going to be available? And I don't know how other women view that. I don't know if other women view that like, yo, if I get pregnant, it is what it is. And I would be curious to know, like, how does that affect contracts? Like, do they have built-in clauses with the contract? Like, if a girl gets pregnant at the, like 2 weeks, if 2 weeks before the WNBA season, like, let's say, for instance, 2 weeks before the WNBA season started, Caitlin Clark pops up a pregnancy test. I'm pregnant. I want to have the baby. What are the ripple effects of that? Like, does the contract still stand? Is it like, because I was looking up today some of the labor laws when it comes to protecting women in the workplace from being fired for getting pregnant or for discriminatory practices. There's obviously mandatory maternity leave and all these other things that are very specific to women in the workplace. But the WNBA basketball court is a very, very unique workplace. I feel like you can, as a business, you can have laws protecting women from getting fired from their office job or their desk job, or their, reasonably able to execute their workplace commitments while being pregnant. I don't know that that applies to a professional basketball player. You can't play competitive basketball, with a big belly pregnant like that, obviously. So I'm curious. I don't even know
That's
if
bugged out.
I don't know if there's things in the contracts that there's any language in the contracts alluding to this. I don't even know if that's legal. I don't even know if they legally can put in the contract. I don't know to what degree they can put in the contract you're not allowed to get pregnant. Can they do that by the law? I have no idea. Like, that's why I want to talk to somebody who knows more than me, because this is something that I never really we've talked about all of the ins and outs and the machinations when it comes to contracts and shit when it comes to sports. But this is a new one for me. I'm kind of like, because that's the thing is, like, I feel her on if she, I don't know the details of, everything that happened to her, and, maybe they really, bullied her out of the team or whatever. They ended up trading her to the Sparks. But, I feel for her if she, did everything in her mind or whatever to kind of plan the pregnancy and to not affect the team or whatever. And she thought it was cool. And, for whatever reason, they thought it wasn't cool. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, at what point, if a big time player that is, really, if a team is building around a player, or if a, organization's future is hinging on a player performing and they get pregnant, they're going to, you get pregnant, you miss a year. And we were just talking, we were just talking about the whole Sana Reddick thing, and about, when you're looking at missing time in a sport, when you're a professional athlete, these windows are so small. Obviously, for NFL, it's uniquely very, very small. But for any professional athlete, like, even if you're in WNBA, you can't play forever. You only got a window of but so many years to play. I'm just curious, what do y'all think about that? Because I don't know even what to think about it. I'm like, like I said, on one hand, I'm kind of like, I feel for the team, like, yo, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're no good to us if you're pregnant. Not to be cold, but I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're no good to us if you're pregnant. If you want to start a family, maybe this ain't the business for you. And I know, like, that's cold. So I don't know what's appropriate. I don't know how the other women feel about this. Is there like a sisterhood amongst the team? Like, if you were to ask her teammates, and they'd be like, nah, we cool with it. We understand, as women who are, are going to have our families of our own someday. Like, we understand, that this is something sometimes you can't help it. Sometimes you can't plan it. Sometimes it's spontaneous. Like, I don't know.
Did she play after that, the baby?
The baby I think the baby's still too young to play in the WNBA. But no. Did she play? Yeah, I just said she was in the Olympics.
And how'd she do?
So they traded her to the Sparks.
How'd she do in the Sparks?
She made the fucking Olympics. She's balling out. So the Sparks are not a good team. She's clearly their best player. Right now, I have her on several of my WNBA fantasy teams because I knew she was going to be money in the bank. She's averaging pretty much a double-double. She's averaging over 10 rebounds and probably like 17 points a game. She made the Olympic 3-on-3 team. She could ball. She's good. She could play. She came back and was still able to, she kind of picked up right. Well, so with the Aces, she probably wouldn't have even been a starter. She was going to be coming off the bench. But the reason why the Aces won the championship is because they had fucking Candace Parker, maybe the greatest women's basketball player ever, coming off of the bench in her final year. So they just had a loaded ass roster, and they wanted her to be a part of that, I assume. She maybe, even if she wasn't going to be the main piece or a starter, she was still going to have everybody on that team pretty much has a significant role. They roll deep. But so they traded her to the Sparks. She had the baby. I don't even know if she missed any time. I don't believe she missed any time because of the pregnancy. I think she worked to get back and just kept playing, which is why I kind of feel like that's where the lawsuit comes from. I feel like, I don't know that she would even have a lawsuit if she got pregnant in the middle of the season and missed a year or missed a significant chunk of time. But I think that she had the baby in the off season, was ready to ball when the season started, and played. That's from what it
Mhm.
sounds like. I know that she's playing. I know she played last year. I know that she's been playing this year, and she's been playing well. Um, but you
Well,
know,
it sounds like to me like obviously I'm similar to you with the sense that I usually like to go with the player, but if they still won the chip without her. They could, I mean, it sounds like like they could just say, "Bro, listen, man, we just traded her. Like it wasn't nothing attached to
speaking of
it."
that, before I forget, there's another detail that I
Mhm.
forgot to mention with this story because so she had filed a grievance with the WNBA, and they did an investigation during the off season last year before this season started. They did an
Okay,
investigation regarding this whole situation,
okay,
and the WNBA investigation turned up that I mean I don't know what they exactly classified what the ruling specifically was how it was worded, but I think the coach was I think the coach and the organization were fine. I think she might have been suspended like 3 games. I think Becky Hammond, the coach, was suspended for 3 games, and they were docked a draft pick because of the
oh shit,
investigation. And it was funny because I remember when I first heard about that during the off season, right before the season began. I remember saying, "Oh, she's going to be suspended," and I was like, "Damn, nobody's really talking about this. I guess maybe it must not be a big deal." But
I
then,
remember her being suspended, but didn't had no idea why.
yeah, so like it wasn't something that too many people were even in the WNBA circles. It wasn't like too many people were really making a big deal out of this. So I didn't really know how to look at it. I was kind of loosely aware of what was going on. I knew about Hamby. I knew she had been traded. I knew kind of, some of the basics of what was going on. But now apparently I guess she was dissatisfied with the ruling by the WNBA and is now suing them in federal court. So I don't know what I mean, I clearly she feels like she was wronged. I don't know it I don't think she was I don't think she what she's suing for is emotional distress, and I guess she feels like maybe her career did not go to where it could have been has she been able to stay on on the Aces roster because they were more successful, more high profile team than the Sparks. So maybe she feels like she got fucking cast away, and now she's on this bum ass team. She's still putting on numbers, but she's not, fucking Asia
Limelight,
Wilson,
yeah,
Kelsey Plum, Jackie Young. These are fucking superstars in the WNBA. They're playing in the Olympics. People talk about them. Nobody's talking about Dearica Hamby because she got shipped away, and even though she's putting up numbers, on a bum ass team.
yeah.
So maybe she feels like she got wrong, that she didn't get an opportunity to really shine, with the champs. And I take it that that's what she's suing for. But I don't know, man. Like, I do kind of feel, I don't know, I feel it both ways because I feel like
Me too.
if she was still able to physically fulfill her commitment to the team and they never gave her an opportunity to do that, I feel like that's kind of wrong. But at the same time, I don't know how that is viewed. It's such a
Yeah,
unique
that's a
thing because,
question
like, I
mark.
feel like if I was, because, like, like, fucking when it comes to men's sports, they'll throw you away for something less than of pregnant. Because like I just look at a pregnancy like while yes she has been able to come back, she seems like she came back pretty quickly, is still able to play, and she's not the first WNBA player to have a kid during their career and come back and play
Mhm.
um and play well. But you can never, I mean, pregnancy takes a lot out of your body, man. Like,
Facts.
a woman for, you can't necessarily, like, if I'm the coach or the GM of the Aces, or even one of her teammates on the Aces, and she's like, I'm gonna have the baby X date, and I'm gonna be ready by the time the season starts shortly thereafter. I don't know that you can
Yeah,
assume that, there's lots of things that can go wrong with pregnancy, God forbid. Thankfully nothing did. But it's just such a unique situation. It's just something I had never thought about, never really thought about all of the kind of, ramifications of that type of thing. And then you couple that with the fact that there's so many labor laws protecting women, particularly when it comes to pregnancy and mandatory minimums when it comes to maternity leaves and stuff like that. I just don't know how all of that goes up against each other when you're talking about such a short window of a career and such a short window of when you are expected to perform. Like, I'm kind of like, if I'm a WNBA coach, like, yo, you want to have a kid, like, I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to know you had it. Like, I don't want to see you
especially
pregnant.
in a position, that they were in.
And like, I don't know, like that. I know that sounds cold, but that's just from my experience, having followed professional sports my whole life. I feel like that's the kind of business that professional sports is. Like, I mean, we've come to a place now where if a guy has a kid, like, pure example, obviously not the same situation, but this clown Rudy Gobert in the middle of the, I guess it was it the Western? No, it wasn't the Western Conference Finals. It was the semifinals against Denver that he missed the game because he went back to Minnesota to be with his girl who had just had a baby. And I call him a clown not because he went back to be with his baby, just because I think he's a clown,
because he is a clown.
Yeah, but like that situation, even that, like nobody really talked about it. Partially because he's Rudy Gobert, and also because I think we view these things differently. I forget who the Met was. There've been a couple of Mets that have had, I feel like not only Mets but baseball players who have had kids and have had taken time off to be with their wife after they give birth, and that has kind of. I remember years ago that was like, yo, what are you doing? You're leaving the team, like you're not the one having the baby, which I feel like that's a little aggressive. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, yo, how long you need to be away? Like, this is we only got a handful of shots at this shit.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's funny you say that because coincidentally enough, there's I think Brent Rooker, I think, is not playing
Rooker's
today.
That's my man.
He's not playing today because he's on paternity leave, so he's not in the game today. But I don't know. I feel like there's different things at play with this. Like, first of all, you have Becky Hammon, like the culture that she comes from, and like the San Antonio, like, no nonsense. Like, everything is about the team. Like, that's the culture she comes from. I feel like that's fine in terms of, like, that's the way you run your team, right? I just think in terms of, like, it's not necessarily that the actual event, but it just feels like, I don't think this lady, this basketball player, this woman takes basketball as serious as I want her to take it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to eat, sleep, shit, everything basketball. And it just seems like, okay, she had a baby. She's already going to do this. That means she's probably likely to be more invested in her child, and it's going to take away from her preparation. I'm not saying that that's the case. I'm not saying that that's right. It just seems like there's a possibility of it happening.
Yeah, a huge possibility.
And maybe she just doesn't want to deal with that because that's not what she wants. Because it's not only, like, think about it. It's not only her, it's the culture and how she's going to have to handle the next person who she does that. So it's also going to be like a scare tactic. Like, all right, I have to do this because
I bet you she did that so that when Waller and Kelsey Plum were getting together, yo, don't get any fucking ideas, Kelsey. Ship your ass out of here too.
Yeah, exactly.
Setting the stage.
Yeah,
for real. I mean, it's kind of wild to think about, but
kind of wilder.
And think about it. I mean, obviously,
which is wild anyway.
Well, it's Well, they should change the word from wild to wild anyway. It is wild ass. But I mean, think about it. It's like like in terms of her contract situation, and it's not like they cut her off the team and she wasn't able to find work. They traded her. Her contract, she's still getting paid the amount. And I get it. I mean, I know it's, it's her moving and all of that stuff. you got to take that into account that it is a bitch. Like you're kind of, it's almost like she did it out of spite. So I'm sure that's why kind of like the lawsuit because it's like, oh, she knew I had a baby and now she's making me uproot, and do all of this shit and make me move.
Yeah, that's a great point. I
It's
hadn't
almost
even thought about that.
so it's almost like she's maybe the lawsuit might be just from how she felt spited as opposed to like her actual situation because she got traded to a basketball team obviously not as good whatever but she's in a situation where she can put up numbers. She's still getting paid the same amount like because she's still under contract. But I think it's like, oh, this is how you did me dirty because you knew I had a kid. I started laying my ground and then the first thing you did was make me move out of here. Maybe you don't know what like my situation was, especially because obviously in the first months and everything like that, it's like it's hectic to begin with. The last thing that you want to have to deal with is moving and all of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So that might play into like the spike that led to the actual lawsuit. But in terms of like, in terms of like, I don't know how she'd win because at the end of the day, everybody's open to get traded, and it's like a lot of players get traded because they don't fit the culture. A lot of players get traded because they changed defensive scheme. They changed the offensive philosophy. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's hard to prove that that's the reason, but I know that it has to be that the reason that she feels like she has to do a lawsuit even though she didn't really lose anything, it's because it probably felt more spiteful and close. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I see every side, and I agree with. It's hard, it's funny, but I almost agree with all the sides because like knowing firsthand what women have to deal with, like when they are pregnant, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how long they can play basketball for. I don't know, in those first couple months, like if she's not, you don't know if she's going to get pregnant again, because sometimes women like to do the back to back and get that out of the way so
I'm
that
glad you brought that up because that's part of the lawsuit, that
Oh,
exact
okay.
thing. So I'm reading here right now. That's actually you nailed it because there's two things actually that I'm reading here. So according to the lawsuit, during that same phone call where she said that she felt like she wasn't taking it seriously or that she didn't do a good job planning or whatever. During that same call, Hammond accused Hamby of signing her contract extension knowingly pregnant.
Hmm.
An accusation that Hamby denied, which even that is kind of tricky. Like, if you're pregnant while signing a contract, knowing you're not going to be able to fulfill the commitment to the contract, where does that fall? But then, like what you were just saying about her potentially getting pregnant, right here, Hammond then informed Hamby that it was believed by the Aces staff that Hamby would get pregnant again for a third time.
Oh, it
So
doesn't
it
make
just
it any
seems
more
like this
right.
whole say again.
It doesn't make it right, but at the same time, like, how we can't build a team. We can't rely, like a lot of the team, a lot of the philosophy of teams. Like, just imagine Bill Belichick in this situation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not like it's not what you do, all of this stuff. It's also like, are we going to be able to count on you down the line? Are we going to be able to count on you like in 6 months? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you have difficulties, if you get pregnant again, like, I can't build my team around as cold as it seems. And again, you go back to like Becky Hammond, you know the type of culture that she's coming from. So it's like, maybe it's like you know what? It's not like I'm not cutting you. I'm not, slandering and all of this stuff. It's like I'm trading. I'm gonna let somebody else. You can go over there to you could go to the Sparks. You can play when you need to play. You can go away. I'm sure they don't care. But here, I need people that are going to play all the time. That I don't,
You're
that
literally
basketball.
saying what Becky Hammond, according to this, what she said. So I'm reading. Hammond further stated that the Aces, quote, needed bodies and that Hamby wouldn't be ready to play in time for the start of the next season.
Yeah.
In response, Hamby assured Hammond that she was committed to the team, would be giving birth during the offseason, and anticipated being fully ready to play by the start of the 2023 preseason.
Yeah,
But
but
that
like,
quote that Hammond told her that she, quote, needed bodies. That's exactly what you're
yeah,
saying.
should
That
have been
we
like,
need
yo, I
people.
got two.
Yeah.
No, but but that's what I'm saying. It's like, yo, okay, fine. I'm gonna let that person deal with it. That other team deal with it because I don't know if there's something that happens during the pregnancy because people underestimate how big if it's a C-section, how big of a that's something that's a major surgery. Cutting a woman open is a major surgery. Um, Pregnancy is a big deal. You know what I'm saying? After you can be dealing with postpartum depression, which is another thing that maybe crept into Becky Hammond's thinking.
Yeah.
It's like
And where
Yeah.
the
this
team is
this
at too. Where the team is at too.
that's
Like,
what that's what I'm
yeah.
saying. So it's like I get it, and also I get why she would be mad at it, but also like I said, she got traded to a team. And she's like, yo, listen, if this is I'm gonna trade you here. If basketball isn't as isn't you aren't as serious about basketball as what we need you to be here, I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna send you to another team. You know what I'm saying? It's not like she sent her to fucking Turkey to play basketball. You know what I'm saying? It's like still in the
No, they'd be
WNBA.
sending themselves to Turkey.
Yeah, well, um, but I mean, like I said, it's a lot of CEOs have to deal with it. There's plenty of women that's the reason they take their careers more serious. They wait until they're older to have kids, and because their jobs entail like a 24/7. In this country specifically, they
But that's kind of my
working.
point. Is that it's interesting because there's like that's they're kind of trying to legislate that out of the workplace now. Like you're right. There are a lot of CEOs who want to hire women who do not plan on getting pregnant and are going to be maximum efficient at their job, and they're going to be prioritizing their job over having a family or any of those other things that would complicate how effective they could be at work. But now they're making all these laws to try to prevent CEOs from being that way, which I agree with, because just
No, but
because
I'm
a
not.
woman gets pregnant doesn't necessarily mean that she can't work, but it does mean that she can't ball. Like
Yeah,
that it
yeah.
does mean.
No, but
Right.
no. My point about the CEOs was like, like to actually be a CEO and to actually like to like being
Well, you got
the
to be
career
careful.
oriented.
I'm trying to
No, no, no.
protect
What
you,
I'm
Flex.
no, 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 no. What I'm saying is like the career oriented person, woman, man, as opposed to like the man that goes to the kids' baseball games, goes to their kids' football games, where it's like,
No, I
oh,
know, but people
family.
don't want to hear that. I'm telling you, I'm
No,
trying to
well,
protect you.
I'm not. I'm by no means. I have not missed a football game, a basketball, a baseball game, a t-ball game of any of my sons. So that's not what That's not what I'm talking about. It's the mentality of what people like think that a certain mentality should be in terms of like, yo, 1, 2, 3. Your job should be 1 and 2. Your kids should be 3.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, but they can't. But that's the thing is like I know you can't really get away with that kind of stuff in the regular office workplace anymore because of
Yeah.
there's a lot of new laws, and you know, even if you try to find some way to freeze somebody out or push a woman out because she's pregnant and you want to hire somebody else, even if you try to find a way to do it within the laws,
No, yeah,
you're gonna get screwed.
you're not
You
winning
just
that.
can't do that
Yeah,
anymore. That's not
can't
gonna
beat that.
fly.
Yeah,
But that's
no,
why I think this girl is. That's why I think she's suing, because I
it's
feel like
interesting. It's
she feels
interesting.
like that's what happened to her. But I'm
Yeah,
just like, I don't know how. Like, you got the if you worked for the Aces, like if you were working in the
yeah,
office selling tickets
right.
or doing something
Yeah,
like that, that's
got it.
different. But I
You
don't know
got it.
how
Yeah,
that flies when it comes to something where you physically got to perform. That's your job.
yeah.
And I'm curious. I really
Me
want to
too.
know if there's any contractual language that addresses this, because like NFL players, they don't have language that they can't have kids, but they got language about all kinds of shit they can't do in the
Yeah,
off season on their free time while they're under contract with a football team or with a basketball team. You can't motorcycle, skydive, all this other
yeah.
kind of shit that they don't want you doing for fear of you not being able to fulfill your contract commitments due to injury or whatever. I don't know I don't know how that works when it comes to pregnancies. Like, I don't know that you can do that, even though part of me feels like I don't know that that's not fair.
Yeah. I agree.
Like, I don't
Now
know, man.
it's
Like,
gonna be interesting.
there's
It's
a
gonna be
lot,
interesting to
there's
find
a
out with that.
lot. Like, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, not to diminish the Erica Hamby, but what her role was going to be on the Aces was not vital to what they were trying to do. And at the end of the day, they ended up replacing her with fucking Candace Parker. So, I think they did okay. Even though it was, the Candace Parker on her last legs and Dearica Hamby can ball. But like, I just wonder how this would go if it was like a huge big time player like a Caitlin Clark or a Asia Wilson or Angel Reese or somebody like that was, in the middle of a season, just like, yo, I need to sit down. Like, it's over. I'm pregnant. And like, how
Do
would
you
that
think
go? What would that look like?
how would it look? How yeah, I'm interested if it was somebody like Caitlin Clark, where like all the right wing nuts that stick up for her and everything. If they were in the conundrum of like having to stick up for women's work rights and also women having children and women in the workplace, how would that
Yeah,
go?
I
Do you
know.
think that
How can
do you
you?
think they
How
would
do you
just
be pro
explode?
life?
Do you think they just explode, or what?
I
What would
don't know.
happen?
I think so. I think so.
Hmm. Actually,
I
I
don't know.
want that
Like,
to happen now.
That's to be. We're about to
but
find
like,
out, though.
imagine
That's a
what that
game
would be. I
changer.
mean, that would just affect so much. Like, again, like I said, not to be rude to Dearica Hamby, but her being on the Aces, not being on the Aces, getting pregnant, no, like, again, not to be fucked up, but no, they didn't miss her. Nobody missed her. Like, if you have a big time player who not only is the centerpiece of an organization, but like if it was Caitlin Clark, not only are you talking about the entire fucking Indiana Fever season is derailed, but you're talking about all of the fucking the broadcast rights that have been hinged on this, all the primetime games that they have on the games that ESPN bought because they knew that she was gonna be there. Like, if she was to get pregnant, or like, how would that go, man?
Yeah,
I'm very interested in finding out how that works in terms of the contracts and what the expectations are and what the teammates think. Because, like I said, the teammates might be right there with Becky Hammond. Like, listen, we want to get pregnant too, but we out here we making sacrifices. They maybe they look at it that way, or maybe they
true.
look at it the total opposite way, and they're like, listen, we understand. Like, this is our sister. She wanted to do her own thing, and we respect that. I don't know. I'll be very interested to talk to a woman and see how that is viewed amongst competitive women in the locker room, because while women who compete in sports are all very supportive of each other, they all are just as competitive as men. They want to win. Like, they like especially that Aces team they're not fucking that's one of the most dominant basketball teams, men or women, I've ever seen. Like, they are like, they are the fucking Warriors, of a couple of years ago, or what I'm saying? Like, they're one of these dynasty type teams that they're trying to fucking rack up multiple championships. Like, they're not out here
Yeah,
for fun.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. But the last thing I'll add is, The other thing is also like the amount of money that they get paid isn't the same, as the men, to where it's like, yo, um, I can't change my life or hold on, like hold up, like my life plans, because I'm getting $75,000 a year, $80,000 a year. Like, if let's say it's the situation where they're in the NBA and they're getting that set, like that level of money where it's like, oh, I'm getting paid $25 million a year. Well, you know what? I have to suck it up and maybe start a little bit later, and like, and instead of like having kids at 25, I have to wait till 32, but at least I'm gonna have 100 million in the bank, to where if I have to take a leave, if I have to deal with all of this stuff, I'm away from the team. I'm financially steady. So it's as we pay more attention to women's sports, like this situation. I feel like this is like a test, that like this is like a test for how, going forward, how people are going to start to like view, and also like how players are going to start to are we going to get a bump in money? Are we going to to where it's worthwhile for us to have to put all our life plans on delay? You know what I'm saying? Because now, does my husband want kids? Like, now I have to take my relationship into account. Like,
Yeah,
you know what
100%.
I'm saying? It's a dynamic that is non-existent. That was non-existent in terms of like the attention that it been, that is being paid to, and also like, like that the attention that we have to give it in terms of like the empathy and the real world like dealings of how the family construct, the professional working life construct, and like how perception is like, who's gonna get like who's gonna get the benefit of the doubt. Like, are we doing double standards? Are you know what I'm saying? So I think
Yes,
that it's crazy because, like you said, with the thing with the paternity leave, like, is it going to be like when it's maternity or paternity on the other side? You know what I'm saying? So it feels like, it's kind of like I said, a trial balloon, or like, is it, maybe it's a Pandora's box? Who knows? Like, what else is going to come from it? So, um, they should be paying more attention to it, because like you said, like, it kind of went under the radar, but I feel like more people should be paying attention to this, just because this is not something that's going to go away. If anything, we're going to see more of it, and learning, like going through the steps and learning, uh like each time it happens. That's probably the best way that everybody's gonna learn how to handle it.
in fact. Yeah, it's definitely a
Yeah.
game changer. Like, it's definitely an eye opener for rules and regulations, contracts, all that shit. So
Yeah, yeah.
interesting, interesting.
Yeah. The last thing I'll say is that, another interesting part of this is that I know that there's another player who's currently on the Seattle Storm, and I didn't really, I wanted to do a deeper dive into the past, because I'm sure the WNBA has been around for 20 years. I'm sure that she's not the first player to get pregnant while being an
Definitely.
active player. In fact, I know that there's a player who's on the Seattle Storm right now, Skylar Diggins-Smith, who had a baby and missed the season, and
Mm.
she's back now. But I don't really know. I didn't have enough time to do a deep dive into what the circumstances were behind that. All of that type of situation, how that was handled.
It's like Hassan Reddick. Does the contract, if you sit out, does it go to the next year?
Yeah, like I have no idea. So like I'm gonna try to do a little deeper dive and find out different instances in the past of players getting pregnant. But even in the past, like it I feel like this is such a seminal moment for the WNBA, where like you have a team like the Aces, who is like, and again, not to shit on the WNBA teams in the past and teams that have won championships in WNBA in the past. Not to say that they're not to be taken seriously, but I feel like we're in a moment now, specifically when it comes to money, because that's ultimately what moves everything. And right now, when the WNBA is in a place where you have players that got to fly overseas for the summer to go make money playing internationally,
Yeah.
the entire expectation of how players are going to prioritize their time playing basketball around building a family is going to be viewed way differently under that circumstance than it is in the current circumstance where they just signed a new deal television rights wise. They're going to be making more money. They're much more high profile. The expectations are going to be way higher and the standards are going to be way higher. And how does this whole aspect of that, how does that translate? You know what I'm saying? Because like Caitlin Clark is actually a perfect example. She's just got out of college. She's not gay, which I think a lot of the WNBA players are, which I think kind of helps offset some of this, that like a good portion of them are not expecting to ever get pregnant or want to ever get pregnant. But Caitlin Clark is a perfect example because she's not gay. She's straight. She has a boyfriend. If she, we expect her to be a professional basketball player for an extended period of time. If she does want to have a kid at all in her life, it's more than likely it's going to have to be during her playing career. How's that going to go? Is she going to do it during the off season? Mm-hmm. Very interesting stuff, man. Very, very, very new. It's a new world, new landscape. This is something that would have never even remotely even been a topic of conversation even just a year ago. But it was just something that I was like looking at, and as somebody who follows the WNBA and as somebody who has been following the growth and the specifically this specific story, I was kind of like when I first started thinking about like this whole, because like I said and like you said, this was something that was brought up. The coaches got suspended, and even when they first announced Becky Hammon's suspension starting this season, they didn't even really get into the Hamby aspect of the investigation. They more made it seem as though this was a violation of salary cap, because they were talking about that the way that they did the transaction to send Hamby away and the way that they were able to kind of use creative accounting to be able to pay Candace Parker and bring her onto the squad. They made it seem as though that was the suspension, which I think kind of it was. They were really more suspending her for kind of trickery when it comes to the salary cap and bringing in a superstar like Candace Parker when they already had a loaded squad that was at the cap. They didn't even really punish her, so to speak, for the treatment of Dearica Hamby. That really wasn't what the suspension was about. Yeah, so I had known at the beginning, but then when I seen that, I know that they were filing the investigation. I watched Dearica Hamby play in the 3-on-3 in the Olympics, and then I seen that, and the Olympics was also very interesting to me because it's always interesting to me to see these players from different teams be on the same team and how they view each other, even on the men's side. Like, if players have beef during the regular season, does it carry over to the Olympic team or whatever? So I was curious to see Hamby playing on the Olympic 3-on-3 team. She was playing with a couple of players from different teams and sharing just the general Olympic experience with a lot of her former teammates, because the Aces had a lot of players on the 5-on-5 Olympic squad. So I'm curious like how all that shit went. And then when I seen that she was filing a lawsuit, I was like, oh, this shit was all surrounding a pregnancy. And I was thinking to myself like, yo, that's not something I've ever considered. Players getting pregnant and shit, like that shit is crazy. But
wait till it happens in the NBA.
I know. Wait till we have the first transgender guy in the NBA getting pregnant. Then you want to talk about right wing heads exploding? Woof!
Open season.
Be all over the place. Explosions everywhere. When we have fucking Juwana Man dunking on people while 8 months pregnant. Oh my Lord, have mercy. My man, what's his name? Baby. Nunez. What was that dude's name? The actor. He was the man.
Yeah.
Something
first water to break during the fucking game.
Imagine
slipping on the floor.
about to dunk it for the game, and she sees her own baby comes out.
Yo,
Bam!
imagine. Then you running
Crazy.
back down cord, the umbilical cord, you're dragging the baby behind. Oh my
Technical
lord.
foul, 6 men on the court.
Right? Or the baby makes the
That is
bucket.
terrible.
Crazy.
Terrible.
Anyway,
Getting suspended because he's on the floor while a fight breaks out.
Yeah. Imagine. But with that being said, WNBA comes back tomorrow, and I'm excited about that.
Nice.
Officially, the season resumes. The Olympic break is over, and hopefully my New York Liberty can continue marching towards a championship. I don't think they will, but we can all hope.
we can all hope.
But with that being said, I think next week, hopefully, we will all have watched Hard Knocks. There will be 3 episodes in. I've seen the first 2, but I'll reserve my thoughts until after y'all have seen them.
Yeah, I've seen one.
This one was a little slow. The second one.
The second episode.
Yeah, wasn't much going on. It started off okay, but
Yeah,
I felt like
thought,
it started droning off.
I thought that I thought it was fine. I thought that I thought they could have done more with the Roma Dunze. They had that brief moment where they were showing his mom in the stands, and I felt like there was more there. They only briefly touched on him. Maybe they get into him next episode, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Like I don't know with the Hard Knocks thing. I'm kind of like, it's just it's too much Hard Knocks. They're running out of shit to do, running out of new shit to do. Like they tried the off-season one for the first time this year. I thought it was alright. You know, it was fine. Now they're gonna do this one. They're gonna do the end season. It's all year round now. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy. Well, we'll see.
but we shall see. And then I think next week we got to really hammer down the defensive fantasy league. We got to figure out what the points. So we got to take some time to figure out what the scoring is going to be, and what makes sense.
Next week, may be a little difficult for me, as I will be in Florida. So I'll have to figure out.
What do you mean? It's perfect. You go to Cheek's house and you have a in person.
Well, Cheeks is gonna be in Augusta. No, I was about Augusta. Yeah, you wouldn't be allowed there. What's it called? Savannah.
I'm gonna be in Savannah tomorrow, Friday. This Friday. I'll be home by then. But yo, I gotta fucking wake up at fucking 3:30.
No, yeah, it's over. Until next week, we will